Hi everyone, Mittierim here again with another product showcase, and this one is a terrain piece that I got from my friends at blacktowerterrain. Alright, so here is my new terrain piece. As you can see, it is an excellently crafted fountain. I've been looking for something like this for a long time. There's not a whole lot out there in terms of fountain terrain that's made by anybody else, and it is something I'm very happy to have gotten a hold of. And I definitely love the design style here and the materials that he used. I got this from eBay. He does run an eBay site, and I'll have that linked down below along with his Facebook and YouTube channel. But when I saw this on eBay, I was expecting the stones to be styrofoam and it to be very light, but it's actually a very heavy duty piece of terrain. The stones to me actually feel like some sort of resin cast. And he obviously has the water effects in there as well, so it's very durable. And it's on a, a stout piece of, I'm trying to remember what the type of wood is, but it's the same stuff we actually use for our game board here. And so the first thing that struck me when I took it out of the box was that I expect this piece to last for a long time. It's very durable, and you can definitely see the quality in his construction here. The second thing I definitely noticed is with the stonework, his painting is very solid. It looks good. It looks like real stone throughout. You never get any sort of clumpy painting. It's very professionally done. The other thing I loved about it, and you can see it in here, is he went in to put little bits of flock on the top of the stone to represent moss or like algae growth, which you would see on an untended fountain for a decent after a decent amount of time. And it's just one of those things with the level of detail that I was really impressed with. And you can't really see it with the way the light is, but he did in his water effects mix in kind of blue and green, so it actually looks very realistic. And I definitely was very pleased with that. It just, like I said, it looks like a remarkable job, and the attention to detail is definitely the next thing I picked out as being very impressive here. Now, the third thing I want to focus on is his flocking and basing work here. Particularly for me, somebody who is just absolutely terrible at this, and I don't base models or anything in because of that. I typically resolve with the just paint the bases a color. The level of variation in his flocking technique here was very, very impressive to me. You see, you've got kind of the larger bushes that are growing up on the side. You also have the small grass work, and then he did what I can identify as at least two, maybe three different types of flock to represent the different grass work around the base. And it really makes this piece stand out. I didn't get a picture of this, but I put it up against our normal playmat, and the difference in color there really makes it stand out. There's going to be no question when you're playing, where does this piece of terrain end for the effects if we use it as a magical piece, and it just kind of ties the whole thing together very, very nicely. And in this photo, I wanted to draw your attention to the actual fountain work. Now, I've never worked with water effects before, so maybe I'm easily impressed. But this, as clean as that water flow looks like to me that it would be a difficult job, and I think he pulled it off flawlessly here. I'm looking at this piece as I'm talking, and I have no problem believing that this is actual water flowing out the fountain, and it just, I mean, it's so easy, he could have just left it out, but it's one of those little details that I really think makes the piece. And I wanted to just throw this picture in because I think it's the best shot I got of the actual moss work he did going up the stone. The nice thing about this is it looks believable and you can definitely see where he's going with it, but he did not go overboard. I think one of the things I always do with flocking is I really just kind of overshoot it and put on way more than I really need, and the effect is lessened. But here, I think it's the perfect level. He's got it kind of spread out, so it looks like it could realistically be a natural growth of lichen and moss up on these stones. Then I got this photo. This is probably the best one that shows the different colorations in the water. Um, in the water effect, you can actually see sort of the green as if you can imagine there's algae growth in this fountain. And it really gives it kind of a 3D effect, even though a depth, even though the real depth is centimeters. And here I put this picture in with the Citadel paint jar just to give you guys kind of an understanding of the scale, which is good. I like this because it's going to be a good size piece of terrain. If we use it as the weirding well, it's going to have a good bubble of effect, but he didn't go overboard on the size and the height, so it's not going to be big enough to hide monsters behind and things of that nature. Um, I think it's like I couldn't imagine it being either bigger or smaller than it really is. I think if he went smaller, you'd lose a lot of these details. But it's definitely a piece that I feel comfortable paying for. And I'll go ahead and tell you guys, as I was going to talk about this a little later, the cost on this was super reasonable. I bought it on his eBay store, but he does also do commission work, and I paid $25 for this piece on eBay. And I thought that was an absolute steal because there's really nothing fountain-wise that looked anywhere close as good for anywhere near that price. So for the size of the piece that it is and the quality, absolutely worth every penny that I paid. And I wanted to take a minute to zoom in on this, on the flowers that he has on the side. Again, I think this is mainly done with flock, but the level of detail, it looks to me like a little flowering bush. And it again is, it ties the piece together. But the thing that I like about it is it looks like he actually did some sealing work on it because it's solid. It's not. I don't get the feeling like it's going to flake and break off and be an empty holder inside of a couple of weeks. So it's just, again, I think Black Tower does a really good job at balancing the look and the delicacy of what this model looks like with the durability that you'd really expect to get long-term use out of the piece on the table. So I definitely wanted to call that out. And this is kind of a strange picture. My daughter actually took this picture, but when I went back and looked at him, it was the best one that actually showed some of the ripple effects that he did in the water. Because of the way the light is being catched. But you actually can see he took the time to put in the ripples stemming off of the fountain flowing into itself. And again, it's a very subtle effect, and you only catch it kind of from a couple angles. But as soon as you see it, it really makes the whole thing look real. I mean, from this angle, you could almost imagine that water is actually pouring into this fountain at the time. And again, just the level of detail here is amazing, frankly, for what I paid for it. It was an absolute great bargain, and I am super happy with this particular purchase. So, final thoughts on my experience with Black Tower Terrain. As the review has gone, I'm very, very happy with the product. I definitely want to give the product a 10 out of 10. The other big benefit for me is that this gentleman operates out of my home state of North Carolina, so I got the product super, super fast, and that's always a good thing. The packaging that he put it in was top-notch. He sent it priority mail with enough bubble wrap and protection that I was not concerned about it being damaged. And all in all, the experience was a very, very pleasant one. So I would recommend anybody who needs some terrain done. Like I said, he does do commissions. I'm planning on getting him to do some ochre themed stuff for me. Give him a email. I'm going to put his email and YouTube and Facebook links in the comments below. So feel free to reach out and contact him. One of the things he told me that he does with commission work is he uses his YouTube channel to do periodic updates of the work. So if you do go with a commission from him, you will be seeing a progression of the work, so you know it's being done to your specifications, and that he gets the job done right. And frankly, with his level of detail and the costs that I've seen so far, I am very much personally planning on making use of Black Tower Terrain services in the future. So, hope you guys enjoyed this product spotlight, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye bye now.